forget the fact that he's hitting 100, BT. The question is, if he's hitting 100, if he's able to go out and throw 100 right now, why is it taking so damn long for him to get some rehab starts?
That's a good question.
That's what I don't understand.
That's a great question.
It's like, look, if you're easing your way back in, let me just go down there and throw about 92 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'll be all right. Eventually I'll work myself back up to where I can throw elite fastballs and scare people with my velocity. Why is he just now getting these rehab starts? That's what I don't understand. And maybe there's something else that is going on that we're just not privy to. But if you can come out and throw 100,
it makes no sense.
Right? The timing just doesn't add up in my mind.
It makes no sense. And I got to tell you, now listen, I hope that this works out well. I do. I love watching deGrom pitch. He's one of the best I've ever seen when he's on. He's that good.
Yep.
I mean, there's nobody that can convince me that, like Pedro, I'll take somebody like Pedro, is or was discernibly better than deGrom. When deGrom's right, deGrom's basically untouchable, right? But why in the world, after being on ice with a stress reaction, right shoulder, scapula, out since March 27th, is he taking the bump against a bunch of 20-year-old kids, and he's throwing I want people to hear this, 18 of 24 pitches for strikes, which is great, but 7 of the 24 over 100 miles per hour. Now, to me, that's not even on deGrom. Mm-hmm. And I read what Buck said. Hey, he's amped up. It's the adrenaline pumping through the body. You've got to, in my opinion, as an organization, preemptively address that and say, Jake, you did the same thing back in March.
Yeah, but let me ask you, is it hard? You think it's hard? And I don't know because I never pitched at a high level. I don't think I even really pitched in Little League, so maybe a couple times.
You never pitched,
I did a couple times. I remember throwing almost a no-hitter. I was only just kind of a part-time pitcher.
Okay.
The team stunk.
God, how bad was the team
they
were
were
playing?
terrible. That's why I was pitching. I was usually in center field.
Yep,
I could get every ball and throw everybody out and everything else. But I did pitch, and I remember thinking, I can just come out and throw as hard as I can. That's all I wanted to do. But if you were Jacob deGrom, how hard is it to pull the throw? You know what I mean? Instead of
to throttle, to dial back
to dial it back.
Let me ask you this. If you say to Tiger Woods or anybody, I know Tiger's bang, although actually Tiger's going to play. Mm-hmm. But take Tiger, even Tiger in his prime, or DeChambeau when he's cranking the ball 375 when his wrist and his arms are right? If you say, hey, Bryson, throttle this down and go 85%. You tell me that Bryson DeChambeau's not going to hit one 304 rather than 362? They're pro athletes. They control.
But that's part of golf.
What they emit.
But that's part of golf. And baseball, isn't it?
No.
If I'm trying to get 100, I'm getting 100.
I don't think deGrom's chasing 100. And I'm not trying to be unfair to Jacob deGrom. I am just trying to make sure that Jacob deGrom comes back and actually pitches this season. And right now, business is pretty good for the Mets. Business is pretty good for the New York Mets. Escobar's finally woken up. He's out of his baseball coma. Scherzer's on the way back. You have a 3.5 game lead, which is daunting because it was a lot bigger than that. We all know the Braves are good defending champions, but Alvarez is a AAA. Mm-hmm. We'll probably see him in Queens at some point this season. Things are good, but things were also good in the spring after the delayed return. It was sitting there saying, my God, the Mets have Scherzer. The Mets have deGrom. This is going to be insane. I encourage, because I've already done it, I encourage you to go back and Google March 22nd, deGrom spring debut. Mm-hmm. Same thing, 101, 100, 101, 100, 100, 100. And it eased temporarily the fears of all the Met fans because he hadn't pitched since the prior July. Well, he hasn't pitched since March 27th. This is common sense to me. I don't know. He's not 24. He's 34. He's not been a pillar of health. He's been incredibly injury prone for a while. Why he's doing this, to me, it's reckless. I'm sorry. It's not smart.
Yeah, well, it's only not smart because of what immediately just happened. That is, he did the same thing, and it caused a stress reaction in his scapula, which has kept him out this entire time. But if he feels good, and if he's ahead of schedule in a sense that he feels like he can do this, and he feels like it's not going to have a repercussion, the only question I have is why is this taking so long? Now, maybe they're intentionally slow playing it, intentionally delaying his rehab starts, maybe privately. He's been doing pretty hard for the last month or so because you were off last week, BT, and I was asking Hoff about this. How come we don't hear anything about Jacob deGrom? Like, we heard a lot about.
He wasn't doing a whole lot. He was throwing from the mound, side sessions.
But maybe he was, though. That's what I'm saying. So maybe he was actually gearing himself up and linking himself out a little bit in ways that we weren't necessarily aware of.
Yeah.
And so this doesn't feel as foreign to him and them as it does to us. Because to us, it feels irresponsible. But if he feels good, then good for him. And he just finally got a rehab start. He's going to be back sooner than maybe
he's going to get Friday.
Exactly.
Hopefully,
before people thought he would be back. I mean, it was post All-Star break, maybe even August before he'd get back. It seems like he's going to get back in the next couple weeks here.
All right, 877-337-6666. It's the Tiki and Tierney Show live inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Hey, how about that awesome Yankee game yesterday? Wasn't that fun? Sitting around working the hot dogs and we had the grilled little sausage, right? Little hamburgers. You had the whole grill set up. You had some music. You had a couple of cold ones. The kids running around. How about that? Wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
What a holiday. What a tremendous tradition that's been passed on from generation to generation. No Yankees, which is disgraceful in baseball. And again, this is about the Mets to start the show, but just as a little sidebar, how pathetic, right? You think about the way the NBA has and we're going to get to more of the Durant stuff later. I got to tell you something, Teak, about something about the Nets that I don't think they've got the guts to do, but if I run the Nets, it's what I would do. But the NBA has found a way to make it a 10-month-a-year business. They've carved out a point where free agency, really the draft, the finals, the draft, all that, that's kind of theirs, right? The NFL runs the show. The NFL really never goes away. We know that. Baseball has this little teeny tiny minute window to maximize exposure. Don't you think Memorial Day would be one of them? And don't you think that the 4th of July would be another?
I would think so.
How are you not playing?
Put the biggest market on TV.
A bunch of idiots they are.
I guess, in some ways you could say nobody's really paying attention, even though I was, to a TV. You think on the 4th of July, who's actually watching the TV? Right?
There's TVs in yards now, dude. This isn't like 1986 with the rabbit ears and you can't leave the house.
And that's exactly why I corrected myself midway through. I was setting it up because you actually can have a TV almost anywhere at this point. In fact, we were at our buddy's house, Tom and Lindsay. TV sitting we're sitting in the backyard, but you can see the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Cornhole was on. No baseball. Cornhole was on.
Cornhole. That's riveting. So, I'm confounded by this. I'm partially inspired by this because when you come out and you strike out, now these kids are overmatched, obviously.
Dude, they were in awe. They were just in awe looking at him.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like being at the lowest level or among the lowest levels of the minors and deGrom where Scherzer rolls in or some other stud making a rehab start. You're like, my God. This is amazing. So you're a little overwhelmed. The stuff is just beyond explosive and you're not ready for it. So the results were good. Struck out 5 out of 6. He threw a lot of strikes. If it would, if he would have hit the bump and the first pitch was like 95, right? And I know he throws a fairly effortless, high 90s. I get that, right? But worked his way up to 101. And again, I'm not trying to nitpick. I hope the guy comes back. I really do. But the first 3 pitches he threw hit 100 miles per hour. So
he's proven a point.
He's proven a point. What's the point? The point is he hasn't been healthy for a year and a half. What is the point?
He's proving a point that he is healthy.
Well, no, he's if that's the motivation, that's probably the wrong way of going about it.
No, I think you're right.
That's not my primary concern if I'm the Mets.
We saw the repercussion of this in the spring. When you started coming out, you come out and you hit 100 as easily as he does, something kind of gets a little stressed. And we saw it with the scapula, and now it's been 3 months, and we haven't seen Jacob deGrom.
Nope. But I know Met fans are pumped up. Now, Hoff, how you doing, Hoff? You okay, buddy? Hoffy.
Me, I'm good, man. How are you doing?
By the way,
I missed you.
I'm great, man. Thank you, pal. How much I missed you as well. How different do the Mets look when they get a 3-run pop?
God, yes.
Doesn't it just seem easier?
Oh,
Nimmo.
yeah. 100%. Listen, we love the base hits. We like the contact, but if you have a home run with runners in scoring position, it It's the difference maker. Let's put it that way.
It is, but I'm a little disappointed in you, buddy. Now, listen, when I am,
What?
I'm going to tell you why.
What?
I'm going to tell you, even when I'm off, I monitor everything. YouTube hits, I check the Odyssey, the app. I never.
Who's leaking information?
No. It's no leakage. All you got to do is go look for it. There's no leaks, right? If somebody's filling in, I want to see how they're doing, like how you're doing. I know Tiki's tire broke down. You had to step in. Make sure you don't ruin the show. All these things that I follow even when I'm off, right? So I'm following Hoff and I'm following the show. And, I got a new nickname for you. You ready? You're not going to like it.
Oh, boy.
You're not going to like it at all.
Okay.
Vacillator.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it, because you are cool, I'm going to get rid of the OR and I'm going to throw a little A and a little so you're the vacillator. You are the vacillator, which means you change. You know what vacillate? You know what it means to vacillate? Do you know what it means?
No.
Come on, you have to know what that means.
No, I don't actually know what
He's
that
giving you
appreciate
the
the honesty.
opportunity to be a teacher.
All right, you're a vacillator. That means
Teach the audience, not me. Teach
Well,
the
I'm
audience.
going to teach you. Well, you need a lesson here, because what you can't do now. We all make predictions. Listen, half the things we say are I don't want to say moronic, but erroneous in terms of projecting. Or this guy's going to. We swing and miss all the time with projections. What you can't do is vacillate, which means to fluctuate quickly on opinions, which is what you did. Because when you had the mic for an extended amount of time the other day, your vacillation was such. For months, Mets don't need a bat. Mets don't need a bat. Oh, Mets don't need a bat. Mets don't need a bat. Oh, no. BT shut. Mets don't need a bat. As soon as you get the extended primetime show, filling in for us, the first thing you say is, the Mets got to get a bat. So, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, I never said they did not need a bat. I said they didn't need it right then and there. That wasn't their biggest need. They still need the bullpen's going to be the clearest thing that they need. However, though, they were a little bit scuttling. They were a little bit tripping over themselves.
Yeah.
And at that moment, why not, rather than old Mets, let's just wait it out a month, see what happens at trade deadline. You have someone who's hitting fire in the minors. Bring him up.
I got to come up with a rap song. I'm going to call it the Vacillator. I'm going to come up
like
with a song
regulators,
for
but
you.
vacillator.
I am. You can't.
Would you'd rather have Alvarez
Oh my God! Did anybody
any bat that the Mets could
Dom
get?
Smith? Oh yeah.
First
First of all,
forget the guys on the roster, because Dom Smith and J.D. Davis aren't the answer. But you'd rather have Alvarez than to go buy a bat somewhere else.
150,000,000,000%.
Okay.
Yes, he's already in the organization. You're going to need to go outside for bullpen help, and we'll see what deGrom can do. Maybe another starting pitcher. If you have someone in your organization already who clearly can smash the freaking baseball, why go? Well, let's see what we got. With the Pittsburgh
I'll
Pirates.
tell you why. Maybe
Who cares?
Well, maybe you should care, because maybe one of the guys that you might need to acquire has actually proven to do it at this level. I'm not saying Alvarez isn't going to be a stud.
And what do you have to get him, though? That's the thing. Like, Wilson Contreras is the guy that everyone's talking about.
No.
What's it going to take to get him? I don't want to spend a lot on Wilson Contreras for a rental player when you have someone
Well, you're
like
not giving up a star for a rental. Everybody knows that. The Mets are going to do. Listen, the Mets need an upgrade. The Mets offense, and everybody gets pissed off when I say this. Too bad. All the sacrifice flies, all the infield hits, and look, we create. Look
all
at
the
us.
leading and the batting average.
You need a 3-run bomb, dude. And when you get one like yesterday, despite the Reds coming back a little bit, it makes life so much easier.
And they have
don't
that guy.
get a lot of those.
And they have that guy. They have him sitting now in AAA.
I got you. All right, so the deGrom stuff really is it's part. I know it emboldens you, and it should, but I think it should worry you. It should worry you.
Yeah.
I love Buck. Buck's the smartest baseball man in this city. All right. I don't love Buck's explanation. Well, what do you want us to do? Oh, I don't know, Skip. How about tell him not to throw 100 before he takes the mound? What do you want us to do? You're the organization. Tell him not to do it.
He didn't have a chance to chat with him. Hey, Jacob, don't kill yourself.
Text him, communicate somehow. Let's get Mike first up. Rocky Point on the Fan with Tiki and Tierney. What's up, Mikey?
Guys, you're the best. Oh, I'm so excited to talk to both you guys right now.
What's
Tiki,
happening,
my dad
Mike?
was a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you, man.
Just to segue what you guys are saying with the Hoffmeister. The Hoff is saying the same thing. We have that guy. He's in AAA now.
Yep.
Do we want this generational player, and I think he's a generational player, do we want him catching 130 games a year? No way. The ball sounds different coming off his bat. I don't care if it's AA, AAA, single A, it explodes. Don't get that rental player. Let the guy get a couple of at-bats, 50 at-bats in AAA, and you got to bring this kid up. We are getting nothing from our DHs, and we're getting nothing from our catches.
And he doesn't need to catch. He doesn't need to catch right now.
He doesn't need to catch.
He can just DH.
He doesn't need to worry about the pennant race and calling balls and strikes and calling a good game and framing. He doesn't need to worry about that. You pencil him in the lineup. You let him get his 3 or 4 at-bats in the majors. That's what you need to do. You're getting Trevor May back. He's going to be back. The bullpen's going to get healthier. Uncle Steve is going to acquire some bullpen help. I don't think you need to go out there and get a Wilson Contreras or a Josh
No, I got
Bell.
you. What are your thoughts, though, Mike, about deGrom hitting 101? I mean, really. I mean, we just went through this in March.
Great. You know what? And this is what I'm going to say. Tiki, this goes to you. You're a running back.
Yep.
Are you going to throttle it down because you just came off an injury? You're not. It's
No.
not
Yeah, you
your
are. You
nature to
should.
throttle it down.
Now, it depends
then
on
what is Rehab for?
It depends on what my injury is.
Yes, a hamstring.
Right.
You
Listen,
blew out your
listen.
hamstring.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
BT's
hard
right
for
about
these
this.
guys.
Hold on, Mike. BT's right about
Yeah.
this. If I have a hamstring, which I guess is the equivalent to a scapula,
Or a quad, or
Yeah,
Achilles,
right?
whatever.
You're going to ease your way back into it
Yes.
until it feels right. Now, that's my point, though. Maybe it feels right for Jacob deGrom. Appreciate you calling, Mike. Maybe it feels right for Jacob deGrom, so he doesn't feel like he's hurting himself. But I also think he felt that same way in the spring when he hadn't pitched since July
7th,
of the
I think it
previous
was.
season. Yep, July 7th, the previous year. He said, I feel good. He gets out there and he throws 100, his first 6 pitches or whatever it was. And a week and a half later, he's got scapula tension and an issue that keeps him out for the first 3 months of the season. So, yeah, I mean, if immediate history hadn't told us that this was dangerous, I wouldn't care. But immediate history tells us that at 34 years old, Jacob deGrom
He's fragile, dude.
Needs to be cautious.
He's fragile.
It needs to be cautious because he needs to be, most importantly, available.
Yep.
And if he's hurt again, then, I mean, the Mets will probably be fine, but they're not going to be the same.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this is the laboratory of, like, there's no more wiggle room after this. God forbid if something were to go awry with
That's a
deGrom,
good
that's
point.
it, man.
That's a good point.
His season's over.
And that's the last thing you want if you're, well, first of all, it's the last thing you want if you're Jacob deGrom.
Well, of
because he's
course.
opting out of his contract. He said multiple times.
He did say that.
And
then I saw over the weekend what the Braves might make a run at him.
Yeah.
He's not going to the Braves. Stevie won't let that happen.
No.
You imagine?
No. Unless the Mets know he's
Damaged
Nah,
goods?
I'm not gonna say
don't
that.
even say
I'm
that.
not gonna
But
say that.
it does, it just seems a little cavalier on everybody's part. A little reckless to come out and after being on ice in terms of competitive pitching, right? I don't mean flat ground. I don't mean sim stuff. I mean in a game, right, where an opposing batter is digging in, trying to hit you.
Yep.
Last time that happened was back on March 27th, and the first time you come out, the first 3 pitches you throw are 100 miles per hour. To me, I'm sorry, that's reckless. And I think there's a lot of blame. Now, that's too strong because thankfully nothing went awry. But to me, there's preemptive measures that you take for a lot of things, right? I don't know, your throat hurts, you have a cough drop. Your head hurts, you take an aspirin. Your scapula's been barking for forever. I don't know that you come out and you throw 101 miles per hour out at the chute. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. 877-337-6666.